Every morning is a new chance, a chance to rewrite your story, to rise again from what tried to break you yesterday. Life doesn't ask for perfection, it only asks for presence. The way you begin your morning often decides how you will live your day. So today, let's talk about 5 powerful morning inspirations that can completely transform your life not overnight, but over time through consistency and awareness. 1. Wake up with gratitude, not with your phone when your eyes open. Before you reach for your phone, take a deep breath and whisper a simple thank you. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for another chance. Gratitude changes the energy around you. It takes your focus away from what's missing and directs it toward what's already there. You'll begin to see blessings you once ignored. When you start your day with gratitude, life starts to give you more reasons to be grateful. 2. Speak kindly to yourself. The first voice you hear each morning is not the world's, it's your own. And what you say to yourself sets the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up telling yourself, I'm tired, I can't do this, your day will mirror that belief. But if you tell yourself, I am capable, I am learning, I am becoming stronger, you begin to shift the vibration of your life. Your words are seeds, plant the ones you want to grow. 3. Move your body. Even for 5 minutes, your body carries your emotions, your stress, your story. And when you move, even for a short walk, a stretch, or a few minutes of deep breathing, you release what no longer serves you. Don't think of it as a workout. Think of it as a thank you to your body for keeping you alive. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Move with love, not punishment. 4. Set one intention, not 100 tasks. We often overload our minds with to-do lists before the day even begins. Instead, pause. Ask yourself, what is one thing I want to feel today? Or maybe it's peace, maybe it's courage, maybe it's clarity. Focus on that one emotion and let every action, every word, and every decision flow from it. When your mind has direction, your day has meaning. 5. Remember, you are still becoming. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to compare your morning to someone else's. Life isn't a race, it's a journey. Every sunrise is proof that you're being given another opportunity to grow, to heal, and to become who you're meant to be. So instead of rushing through your morning, breathe it in. You are still becoming, and that is beautiful. If you can remember just these 5 things each morning: gratitude, kindness to yourself, movement, intention, and growth, your days will begin to change. And when your days change, your life changes. Transformation doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in the quiet, consistent choices you make every morning. So wake up tomorrow not just to another day, but to another chance to become the best version of yourself. Every morning is a silent invitation, an invitation to start over, to breathe differently, to see life not as a burden, but as a blessing. And yet, the very first thing most of us do when we wake up is reach for our phones. We check messages, scroll through updates, and absorb the noise of a world that demands more and more from us before we've even taken our first conscious breath. But what if, just for a moment, you paused? What if you opened your eyes and, instead of rushing into your day, you whispered a simple thank you? That small act changes everything. Gratitude is not about pretending that life is perfect. It's about acknowledging that even in the middle of imperfections, there are things worth appreciating. It's about noticing that the sunlight still finds a way through your window, that your heart is still beating, that despite the weight you carry, you still have the strength to stand. When you begin your morning with gratitude, you shift your entire emotional state. The human mind is wired to focus on what's wrong, what's missing, what's broken, what needs fixing, but gratitude gently redirects your attention. It reminds you that while you may not have everything you want, you already have so much that you once prayed for. Maybe your job isn't perfect, but it provides. Maybe your body isn't flawless, but it carries you. Maybe your relationships are complicated, but they teach you. And maybe your life doesn't look like the picture you once imagined, but it's still yours, unfolding, growing, healing, and evolving. Gratitude doesn't erase your struggles, it gives them context. It helps you see that every challenge also brings with it a lesson, a hidden gift, a piece of strength you didn't know you had. The moment you say thank you, your heart softens. The anxiety that once felt heavy begins to lose its grip. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances instantly, it changes you. When you wake up with a grateful heart, you start to notice small miracles that others overlook. The taste of warm tea, the quiet hum of the morning air, the comfort of your bed, the sound of a loved one's voice, these are not small things, these are life itself whispering to you, you are still here, you still have time. And that realization alone can shift the way you walk through your day, because gratitude is contagious. When you are grateful, you speak differently. You treat people with more patience, more gentleness, more understanding. You smile more not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned to find meaning even in imperfection. Think about how often we rush through life. We complain about what we don't have: the money, the success, the recognition, forgetting that once there was a version of us who would have been grateful just to be where we are now. Gratitude reconnects you to that version. It humbles you, it grounds you, it makes you realize that abundance isn't measured in possessions or status. It's measured in awareness, in how deeply you see and appreciate the ordinary. Start your mornings differently. Before you get out of bed, place your hand over your heart and name 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be grand, they just have to be real. Maybe you're grateful for another sunrise. Maybe you're grateful for the people who didn't give up on you. Maybe you're grateful that, despite everything, you still have hope. This simple act, repeated every morning, begins to rewire your brain. Neuroscience has shown that consistent gratitude literally reshapes the way your mind perceives life. You start expecting good things instead of fearing bad ones. You start noticing opportunities instead of obstacles. You start walking lighter, speaking softer, and living fuller. And when life tests you, and it will, gratitude becomes your anchor. It reminds you that even in pain there is purpose. Even in delay there is direction. Even in silence there is divine timing. Gratitude whispers, you are not forgotten, you are still guided. So tomorrow morning, before you dive into the noise of the world, take that sacred pause, look around. Feel the air, listen to your heartbeat. Remember, this moment will never come again. You don't need more to be grateful. You just need to notice what's already here. Because the truth is, life doesn't give you more when you complain about what's missing. Life gives you more when you appreciate what you already have. Gratitude doesn't make life perfect, it makes it meaningful. It opens your eyes, your heart, and your soul to the beauty that has always been there, waiting for you to see it. Every morning, before the world says a single word to you, you speak to yourself first. Sometimes it's in quiet thoughts, sometimes it's in whispers under your breath, but it's always there. That inner voice becomes the narrator of your life, shaping how you see yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you face each day. The truth is, most of us have spent years talking to ourselves in ways we would never talk to someone we love. We replay our mistakes, magnify our flaws, and punish ourselves for not being enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough. We say things to our own reflection that we would never dare say to a friend. And yet, that voice, the one you hear in the quiet moments when no one's around, holds immense power. It's not just a voice, it's a seed. Whatever you tell yourself in the morning takes root in your mind and begins to grow throughout the day. If you start with words of doubt, your day will mirror uncertainty. But if you begin with words of kindness, your spirit will rise to meet them. Speaking kindly to yourself isn't about ego, it's about healing. It's about replacing the years of self-criticism with compassion, because you can't build a peaceful life on a foundation of self-hate. So tomorrow morning, when you look in the mirror, pause, really look at yourself. Not with judgment, but with gentleness. See the tired eyes that have seen pain and still choose to hope. See the lines that tell stories of laughter and lessons. See the person who's still trying even when life has made it hard to keep trying. Then tell yourself something true and kind. I am proud of how far I've come. I deserve peace. I'm learning, and that's enough for today. These are not empty affirmations, they're reminders. They remind you that your worth isn't tied to your productivity, your looks, or the approval of others. It's tied to your existence, to the simple, powerful fact that you are here, still breathing, still becoming. There's a quiet strength that comes from self-compassion. When you speak kindly to yourself, you begin to trust yourself again. You stop needing the world to validate your value because you've learned to find it within. You stop running from your mistakes because you understand they are teachers, not enemies. Every time you choose self-kindness over self-criticism, you rewrite your inner story. The child inside you, the one who grew up believing they weren't enough, finally starts to feel safe. The adult version of you learns that growth doesn't come from punishment, but from patience. Yes, you will still have days when the old voice creeps in. Days when your mind tells you you're failing or falling behind. When that happens, pause and notice. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then you don't deserve to hear it either. Kindness toward yourself doesn't make you weak, it makes you whole. Because when you speak to yourself with love, you begin to act from love, you take better care of your body, you make choices that align with peace instead of pressure, you walk away from what drains you. You start seeing yourself as someone worth protecting, worth understanding, worth forgiving. Think about it, the most powerful relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. You live with your thoughts, your fears, your dreams every single day. If that relationship is built on constant self-blame, how can you expect peace? But if it's built on compassion, forgiveness, and encouragement, everything in your life begins to shift. When you start your mornings with gentle words, your mind softens. The chaos quiets. The world outside may still be noisy, but your inner world begins to find balance. You stop reacting out of insecurity and start responding from awareness. You start to realize that kindness isn't a luxury, it's survival. Remember, the voice inside your head is always listening. So speak to yourself as you would to someone you are guiding through a hard time, because in many ways you are. You are guiding yourself through life, and the words you use become the path you walk on. So today and every morning that follows, choose words that heal. Speak softly to your scars. Speak hope to your doubts. Speak forgiveness to your past. And even when you don't fully believe the kind words you say, keep saying them. One day, your heart will catch up. Your body is the home of your soul, the vessel through which you experience every joy, every heartbreak, every miracle of being alive. Yet so often, we treat it like a machine we can push, punish, or neglect. We forget that movement isn't just about fitness, it's about connection. It's the simplest way to say to yourself, I am here, I am alive. When you wake up in the morning, your body holds the weight of yesterday, the stress, the stillness, the tension from dreams you don't remember. Your shoulders tighten, your chest feels heavy, your energy feels trapped. But the moment you move even just a little, something shifts. The air inside you starts to flow again. The stiffness begins to melt. You create space for life to move through you. Movement doesn't have to mean running miles or lifting weights. It can be as gentle as stretching your arms toward the ceiling, rolling your neck side to side, or taking slow steps outside to feel the morning air. It can mean swaying to a soft song, dancing in your kitchen, or sitting quietly and breathing deeply until your heartbeat slows. The goal is not perfection, it's presence. When you move your body, you remind yourself that this body has carried you through so much. It has endured sleepless nights, heavy emotions, and days you thought you wouldn't survive, yet it never gave up on you. It deserves care, not criticism. It deserves gratitude, not comparison. Think about it, your body is constantly working for you, even when you're not aware of it. Your heart beats without being asked. Your lungs expand with every breath. Your cells repair while you rest. Every part of you is trying to keep you alive, to give you another chance each day. And all it asks in return is movement, a simple act of acknowledgement that says, thank you. When you spend your mornings moving, even for 5 minutes, you're not just exercising, you're releasing. You're releasing the thoughts that weigh too much, the emotions you've been storing, the stress that sits quietly in your muscles. Movement is how your body speaks the words your heart can't. It's how you let go without having to explain or analyze. Some mornings you'll feel lazy, unmotivated, or tired. That's okay. Don't force yourself to perform, just move gently. Stretch your hands, roll your shoulders, breathe deeply. The smallest action still counts, because what matters is not intensity, it's intention. As you move, feel the rhythm of your breath syncing with your body. Feel your feet grounding you, your arms opening space around you, your lungs filling with new air. You're not just waking up your body, you're awakening your spirit. You're teaching yourself to show up even when you don't feel like it. And something beautiful happens when you begin to do this daily. Your energy changes. You start carrying yourself differently, not because you've become stronger physically, but because you've reconnected with yourself emotionally. You begin to notice the difference between exhaustion and stagnation. You start to recognize that moving your body is one of the purest forms of self-respect. Movement also quiets the mind. When you walk, stretch, or breathe deeply, your thoughts slow down. You stop overthinking and start feeling. You realize that peace isn't somewhere far away, it's inside you, waiting for you to move toward it. Your body remembers everything, every hurt, every hope, every unspoken dream. When you move, you give it a way to speak. You tell your body you can let go now, you're safe. And in return, your body tells your mind we are still alive, we can still begin again. The next time you wake up feeling stuck, don't scroll through your phone or drown in thoughts. Stand up, move your body, shake off yesterday, let your heart catch up with your breath. You don't have to do it perfectly, you just have to begin, because every time you move even for 5 minutes you are choosing life over stagnation, presence over numbness, healing over heaviness. You are reminding yourself that no matter how tired, broken, or uncertain you feel, your body is still capable of movement, and that alone is proof of hope. So tomorrow morning, before the world asks anything of you, give yourself this gift. Stretch, breathe, walk, dance, move, not to look different, but to feel different. Because when your body moves, your soul follows. And in that simple act of motion, you remind yourself that life, no matter how heavy, still flows through you. Every morning, the world hands you a list, messages to answer, deadlines to meet, goals to chase, expectations to fulfill. Before you even sip your first cup of tea, your mind is already crowded. You begin the day sprinting mentally, trying to juggle everything, and somehow end up feeling like you've accomplished nothing meaningful at all. We live in a culture that celebrates busyness as if being constantly occupied equals being valuable. We measure our worth by how much we can do, how many boxes we can tick, how full our schedule looks. But somewhere along the way we forget that being busy is not the same as being alive. When you start your day with a list of 100 tasks, you divide your energy into 100 directions. But when you begin with one clear intention, you center yourself, you stop running and start being. Setting an intention doesn't mean you ignore your responsibilities, it means you choose how you want to move through them. It's not about doing less, it's about doing with purpose. An intention is the emotion, the energy, or the mindset you want to carry throughout your day. It's the difference between living reactively and living consciously. Instead of asking, what do I need to do today? Ask, who do I want to be today? Maybe today your intention is peace. You decide that no matter what happens, traffic, tension, or tiredness, you will return to calm. Maybe your intention is courage. You'll take that first step you've been afraid to take, even if your hands shake. Maybe it's patience or kindness or gratitude. Whatever it is, let that one word become the quiet guide that shapes every decision, every tone, every thought. Intentions are powerful because they give meaning to ordinary moments. Washing dishes becomes an act of mindfulness. Driving becomes a moment to breathe. Conversations become chances to connect. You stop existing on autopilot and start living with awareness. When you wake up, take a moment before diving into your day. Sit still even for a minute. Feel your breath move in and out. Then ask yourself softly, what do I want this day to stand for? Don't overthink it. Let the answer rise naturally. Sometimes it will be big, I want to forgive. Sometimes it will be small, I want to smile more. But both are sacred. Once you find your intention, carry it with you like a compass. When your mind gets noisy and your day feels chaotic, come back to it, whisper it to yourself, let it re-center you. That's the beauty of intention, it becomes your anchor in the storm of distractions. You see, a to-do list runs your time, but an intention guides your heart. We often chase productivity, believing that checking off every task will give us peace. But peace doesn't come from crossing out boxes, it comes from knowing that what you're doing matters. That your actions align with your values, that you're not just moving, but moving meaningfully. Some days you'll still have long lists. That's okay. But let your intention breathe life into those tasks. If your intention is patience, then let even the traffic be your teacher. If it's love, then let every conversation, no matter how ordinary, become a space to express it. Because in the end, your days aren't remembered by how much you did, they're remembered by how deeply you lived. Intentions also create clarity. When you're tempted to say yes to everything, your intention helps you say no to what doesn't align. When you're pulled in 10 directions, your intention brings you back home. It's your daily reminder that you don't have to do everything, you just have to do what truly matters. Some of the most peaceful people aren't those who have less to do, they're the ones who have learned to infuse purpose into everything they do. They don't let the day control them, they shape the day with presence. So tomorrow morning, before you open your calendar, before you check your messages, pause. Place your hand over your heart and set one simple intention. Say it aloud, feel it, believe it, then let every action be a reflection of it, because life isn't about doing more, it's about doing what aligns with who you are becoming. One intention held with love and consistency can transform not just your morning, but your entire life. There's a quiet pressure in this world to have everything figured out, to know who you are, what you want, and where you're going. From a young age, you're told to chase certainty, to build a perfect life plan, to always know the next step. But life rarely unfolds in straight lines. It bends, it pauses, it redirects. And sometimes it breaks you open not to destroy you, but to shape you. So if you ever wake up feeling lost, confused, or behind, pause and remind yourself of this truth: you are still becoming. Becoming isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's the space between who you were and who you're meant to be. It's messy, unpredictable, and often uncomfortable. But it's also beautiful because it means you're alive, growing, and changing. The flower doesn't rush its blooming, the sunrise doesn't skip its dawn. Everything in nature takes time, and so do you. Growth cannot be forced, it can only be allowed. There are days when you'll feel strong and certain, when everything feels aligned and clear. And then there will be days when nothing makes sense, when you question everything: your path, your choices, your worth. But those confusing days aren't signs of failure, they're signs of transformation. They're proof that something inside you is shifting, that the old version of you is giving space for the new one to emerge. Becoming means you're learning how to let go of people, of habits, of versions of yourself that no longer fit. It's painful, yes, but it's also necessary, because every time you release what isn't meant for you, you make room for what is. It's okay if you're not where you thought you'd be. It's okay if your timeline looks different from everyone else's. Life doesn't run on deadlines, it unfolds in divine timing. Sometimes the waiting seasons, the ones that feel still and silent, are the most sacred. They're not punishment, they're preparation. They're where your roots grow deeper, unseen but essential. And even when it feels like nothing is changing, something is. Healing is happening quietly inside you. Strength is building silently beneath your doubt. Faith is forming slowly through your tears. You may not see it yet, but one day you'll look back and realize that every delay, every detour, every disappointment was molding you into someone softer, wiser, stronger. You are not meant to have everything figured out. You are meant to keep unfolding. You are meant to learn through experience, to fall and rise, to be reshaped by life again and again. There's beauty in being unfinished. There's grace in being a work in progress. The cracks you carry don't make you broken, they make you real. They allow light to enter, wisdom to grow, empathy to deepen. So instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask, what am I learning while I'm here? Because this moment, even if it's uncertain, is part of your becoming. When you start to see your life this way, you stop rushing. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You begin to respect your pace. You begin to trust the process, even when it doesn't look like progress. Remember, becoming is not about reaching perfection, it's about alignment. It's about peeling away everything that's false so the truth of who you are can finally shine through. It's about embracing your flaws, your fears, your evolving self with love instead of judgment. Every scar, every setback, every stumble is part of the masterpiece. You may not see the full picture now, but one day you will, and it will make sense. Every thread of pain, every waiting season, every unanswered prayer will reveal its purpose. For now, just keep showing up even when it's hard, even when it's unclear. Keep learning, keep softening, keep growing. You don't have to be everything today. You just have to be becoming. So the next time you look in the mirror, don't just see what's unfinished, see what's unfolding. See someone who is still learning, still healing, still trying, still evolving. Someone who hasn't given up even when life felt heavy. Someone who is becoming more themselves every single day. Because no matter how far you think you have to go, you're already on your way. As the sun rises each morning, the world quietly resets. The light spills through your window, the air feels new, and life offers you another blank page. What you do with it, how you begin it, is what shapes the story of your day, and eventually the story of your life. Every morning you are handed a gentle invitation to begin again, not as the person who was tired, disappointed, or afraid yesterday, but as someone who is still learning, still growing, still capable of becoming something more. You see, transformation doesn't come from huge, dramatic changes. It comes from quiet, consistent acts of awareness, the kind that begin the moment you open your eyes. Gratitude, self, kindness, movement, intention, and acceptance, these aren't just morning habits. They're daily reminders of who you are beneath the noise of the world. When you wake up and whisper thank you, you shift your focus from lack to abundance. You remind yourself that even when life isn't perfect, there's still beauty to be seen. Gratitude grounds you, it brings your heart back to the present moment. When you speak kindly to yourself, you rewrite the narrative that's been holding you back. You begin to treat yourself as a friend rather than a critic. That small change in tone from harshness to compassion creates a ripple that touches every part of your life. When you move your body, even for a few minutes, you reconnect with your energy. You shake off the heaviness of yesterday and awaken your strength. Your body becomes your reminder that you are alive, that there's movement, breath, and purpose within you. When you set one clear intention, you give your day direction. You stop scattering your focus and instead begin living consciously. That single intention, whether it's peace, courage, or gratitude, becomes your compass, guiding your actions with purpose. And when you remember that you are still becoming, you give yourself permission to be human, imperfect, evolving, unfinished. You stop demanding certainty from life and start embracing its flow. You understand that not knowing everything is not failure, it's faith. These 5 morning inspirations are not just lessons, they are gentle awakenings. They remind you that life is not a race to perfection, it's a journey toward awareness. Each morning gives you another chance to choose differently, to respond with patience instead of panic, gratitude instead of greed, self-love instead of self-doubt. And yes, there will be mornings that feel heavy. Days when gratitude feels forced, when movement feels impossible, when intentions feel lost in the noise. But even then, especially then, remember that showing up is enough. You don't have to be radiant every morning. You just have to be present. The power of mornings lies not in how early you wake up, but in how deeply you wake within. It's not about rushing into the day, it's about aligning with it. When you begin your morning in peace, the rest of your day begins to reflect it. So tomorrow, before the world rushes in, pause, take a deep breath, whisper your gratitude, speak to yourself with love, move even a little, set your intention, and remind yourself that you are still becoming. You are not behind, you are not lost, you are simply unfolding moment by moment, morning by morning, into the person you are meant to be. Transformation doesn't happen in one sunrise, it happens in the courage to greet every sunrise with hope. So rise not just from your bed, but from your doubts, your fears, and your yesterday. Rise into your light, rise into your truth, rise into the beautiful, ever-becoming version of you. Because every morning is not just another day, it's another chance to transform your life from the inside out.